recently, I think the last show I went to was the Digital Music Fest. Obviously, shout out to Max, Shane, Evan, Elixir, Christina, all the MTV crew. I mean, like, genuinely, they put on a fucking good event as always. Now, I do have, like, for those who don't know, Digital Music Fest was the first show of its kind under the DMTV banner. They had done previously underground showcases where they brought smaller artists and just kind of put a show together. I think it was the highest form of shows like that, of showcase shows in Toronto. I think they had the best showcase shows in Toronto. They did four of them. I went to three of them, and overall, the quality not only of music but artist and talent, as well as the organization of those shows, were the top of the line when it came to underground showcases. Now, this show was their first into maybe a more broader spectrum type idea. They were trying to reach a broader audience, bring in bigger names. Like they had their first American artist, Rack Baby, and they also had Quasi, who's been on multiple underground showcases. They had Azanti, and then a bunch of smaller names, as the normal underground showcases would be. But the idea was to have a more polished event, more, I would say, something to build upon is what they were looking for. I think it's something that Max, I had talked about with Max in my interview with Max like 2 years ago, was the next stages of doing these events and these shows, and building upon that. And I knew this was coming from like time ago. Like even going into the last underground showcase, I was like, okay, this is the last showcase before DMTV Fest. They even said at the show they gave away a ticket to that. By the way, did that person show up? I'm not even dissing. I just don't even know if that person showed up. The person that got a golden ticket to the DMTV Fest. I don't even know. I don't know. But yeah, so the lineup was a little different. There was a lot of familiar names, a lot of new names. Actually, there was very few familiar names and a lot of new names, which was kind of interesting to me, but also I was excited about because I had acknowledged like the state of the Toronto scene, which I will talk about later. But it's in a growth period of I think it's evolving, and but I think it's going to be a lot different in like 6 months than it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago was like the peak, like 2023 September was like the peak for me. And I think I recognize that the scene is a very different place now than it was 2 years ago. And so having those new faces was very interesting to me. It meant a place where I could go and, one, just enjoy myself because I wasn't creating content, and two, just like discover new artists, or some familiar faces who've evolved into something that I'm very excited about. Day of, I get to the show and I'm walking up and I'm trying to find the place. First off, it was a little weird because I think the actual place was off of Adelaide, but I didn't realize it was like you had to turn off of Adelaide to get there. I think I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. I don't remember, but actually I'm gonna Google Maps it because I get there and I wasn't quite comfy. Is the way I will put it. So yeah, like this is where it was, right? So yeah, it's just down this alleyway here. Yeah, so it is off of Adelaide a little bit, right? Now I come down. I walked up here and kind of like walked past it knowingly. I had seen like maybe even like Elixir and whatever. I think Jammers as well, like just in the alleyway and whatever. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna go. I wanted chicken tenders. I'm not gonna lie. I went to Wendy's and grabbed some chicken tenders. Then on my way back, I kind of walked through a crowd. It was Evan welcoming someone into the alley, and then I had seen Ice and Jammers and whatever, and I had a full anxiety attack. Like I was like, whoa! It had been a long time since I had been like in a social scene like that, where it's like, oh, people I all love and respect, and like who probably want to talk to me, which may be the most fearful part for me, as someone who still somewhat struggles with like social interactions and stuff like that, as you will probably see throughout my recap. You will understand a lot more. So I end up going down through here, and then I walked all the way to over here and sat like at this square over, is it there? Yeah, I sat in this like little park thing here, and just kind of sat there alone with my thoughts, questioned whether I was gonna go home. I did. I fully did. But I told Elixir I was coming. I think the people organizing expected, like Max and Evan probably expected me to come. And so I kind of just sat there, collected my thoughts, really like I saw this. Oh, hold up. There's actually a perfect video for exactly what I did. Shout out Anna Shoemate, who is this TikToker who I fully like, I look for in design and shit, like as far as like style wise, she's got some tough ass fits. Like just looking at this, like she's got some tough ass fits, like, you know. But I saw this video from her, must have been a while ago. I don't know if I'm gonna find it. There it is. The mandatory sit and think before the function. This is exactly what I did. And it did genuinely calm my nerves and whatever. So that really helped me. And so I got there. Jammers immediately greeted me. I saw Chris Mari. That's her name, I believe. I don't know. And then I walked in. Well, actually, at first, mic checks were running late, as they always do at these shows, by the way. Mic checks are never fucking on time. I don't know why. Well, I know why. We're dealing with fucking artists who are never on time for anything. Coming from a guy who, you know, usually does like full-on interview sessions where I schedule a time with people, I would say I have a 50% success rate on people being on time. And that's being generous. People are never on time, especially in the music industry. It's just something that happens. And so the show was running late and whatever. I finally get in. It was probably, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess doors opened at 7. I was probably 7:30, 7:45-ish when I got in. And my ticket didn't work. My VIP ticket I bought at like the pre-sale didn't work. And I guess what happened is they first posted the show on like Eventbrite and sold tickets there. And then realized that the venue was with Admit One, which, by the way, I guess is something these venues have, is like ticket partners and whatever. And so I had to start selling tickets on Admit One. And I guess I was supposed to get an email but I could not find one at all. And I'm sitting there. I don't even think like Evan, Max, or anyone who was organizing the show actually knows this. But like, I just kind of sat there for 5 minutes. I'm like, I know I can get it. I didn't apply for media passes because I knew I wasn't creating content at the show. But I also was like, yo, I'ma just chill here. And worst case scenario, I know I have at least some name value to be able to get into the show. I don't, maybe not my VIP ticket, which by the way, I don't even think I actually kind of used. I just had the fucking, I just got the what's it called? I don't even know what it's called. The pass. And then that's it. I didn't even get the wristband. I think there was a wristband for the after party for VIP, and I just didn't get that. But I was going to the fucking after party anyway, so I didn't care. I got in. After like 5 minutes of waiting, the girl just let me in. It was like, cool, whatever. Get in. Have a couple drinks because, well, I was anxious, right? I'm trying to enjoy myself. I'm seeing Elixir. I see Adoro. I see Zaya, the people I'm comfortable with and just kind of settled in there. The acts had already started, which was another interesting thing was they started the acts like right as doors opened, which is something you don't quite see at these shows, but it also makes sense considering it was more supposed to be like deemed as like a festival, right? When you go to like Rolling Loud or whatever, once you get in, for the most part, there's already an act on the main stage, at least, right? So I guess that's the way they were trying to structure the show. Now I'm going to go onto Instagram and kind of try and remember who all performed, because I don't quite remember. I don't quite remember who all performed, so we'll go through it. I think the first artist I remember watching was Gabzzz, who actually was quite kind of good. Like, they were pretty good. Mutoni, I do remember. I believe she was actually really unbelievable. Had backup dancers and everything. Like this was when I was like. This was part of the thing where I was part of the positives from this show was there was more like effort put into the performances sing by each individual artist, which you don't really see at many of these shows. Flower City Ace I had heard of, I had seen through the Minute of Music kind of, those videos. So-called Jay, I remember hearing his name, and that's about it. And then it was Quasi, which I genuinely think was one of my issues I had with the show, and you will see why later. Quasi, though, did his thing. I mean, I was a couple rum and cokes deep. I was mouthing along to the thing, but I also was still very anxious and kind of like looking around because I don't really go to shows like this and just try and enjoy them. For the most part, I go to shows trying to cover the show and whatever, and I wasn't really trying to do that at the show. So I was very, very I felt a little out of place. I felt like I wasn't really doing what I was supposed to. And it's not to say like I haven't gone to shows in the past and just tried to enjoy them. It was just that at this point I was just enjoying. So like the shows I've gone to enjoy too are like more underground shows. Like I've gone to the Ecstasy show. I went to the Slump Success show earlier in the year. I went to the Holiday show last year. Like those are the shows that I went to like more enjoy the show rather than like kind of cover the show. and those ones were more like environments that were, I'm not going to say fun, but the crowd was very different, and it felt a lot less awkward just standing there, because you're watching not only the artist, but the people's reaction is very, and the people, like the crowd's vibe is very important to a show. And I don't think the crowd's vibe for this show was quite what was expected, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. We then had Rack Baby. Right after Quasi, Rack Baby, the biggest name on the lineup, dead fucking center in the fucking lineup. Which again led to, I think, some of the more downfalls of this show. In my opinion, and I'll say this right now, in my opinion, I think if you just swap Azanti and Quasi, it's a very different show. I think they technically had 3 headliners, and the reason Rack Baby's in the middle is because you only paid him a little bit. I'm not going to say that outright, but I would assume that you're paying him to be the special guest and not the headliner, which is why he's in the middle of the lineup, because you didn't pay for him to use his name to sell tickets. Is essentially the way I see it. Is you're paying him a little less because he's not a headliner, he's not the main focus of the show, and you can get away with paying him less because he's not expected to sell tickets. Is the way I see it, at least. And so his placement, I have no argument with on the lineup. It's more Quasi's placement, because once Rack Baby left the stage, everybody kind of dispersed. And it wasn't as much for like 143, who really had a breakout performance, and genuinely was my highlight of the night. If you don't know, 143 is previously a previous performer from the past 2 underground showcases, Rye, and 2 of his frequent collaborators. They made a group, and brother, the fucking stage presence from these 3, not only that, but the music as well. They were like a R&B boy band, like full on, like, and if you listen to their music even, it is fucking incredible. And this is coming from someone who had interviewed Rye and whatever, and kind of not really seen his place on the previous DMTV lineups as something that was like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're having him because he's very good at performing. That's something that was always touted for Rye, was he's a very good performer, and he opened up the DMTV3 show because he's a very good performer. And that's why they brought him back for DMTV4, in my opinion. But I always kind of thought the music wasn't up to par necessarily, or just wasn't my taste, you know? But bro, this track, Baddest in the Room, bro, like,
nobody, nobody. She likes to move it, baddest, ready to see nobody. Nobody. I got a rider with a shotgun when we riding, cause I'm riding with her. Yeah, co-signer cause I'm signing with her. Yeah, I'm good by myself, but I'm better with her. Yeah, we puppet, but I'm private with her. I don't play about mine, spend these dollars on her. So sure every day when I'm following her. Green light every day, I ain't slowing it up, but yeah. Super solid, so I'm solid with her. She was there from the jump, now we running it up. Ooh, shot for shot, I spit a battle with her. Jump shot into my life, high life, ta-da. Baddest in the room, like a tunnel vision. It's only you that I see right now. Fiending for your love like it's gone missing. Speak the language of love while we tongue kissing. Tell me what you want like it's your party. Tell me what you want cause it's your body. Living in soaking wet like a pool party. Leaving here drunk and wet, it's a pool party. No, you be toxic from the way you been looking at me, baby. That.
But yeah, no, you get the point there. Very incredible. The performance, like, I wish it's the one thing where I wish I had footage from the show. It's the one time where I was like, oh, I wish I covered the show to be able to spotlight this exact moment. It was the peak of the show, in my opinion. And from there, it got messy, to say the least. We then had Ibrahim, or IB Rahim, sorry, not Ibrahim. I don't know why I thought his name was Ibrahim. Maybe I'm dyslexic. But it's IB Rahim, who was very talented and did his thing. But it was during his performance that people really started to just disperse. And then by the time Rock Benjamin's got on, there was a singular person in the pit. And I'm not saying anything I don't think Shane, Max, Evan, and them don't know when I say this. It was just not what it was touted to be, not what they expected, not what was sold. And that's okay because it's their first time doing this. It would be fine if it was their third time doing this. It's just a, I think it was a bit of a reality check, maybe. It was something that by that time I had been tired. I personally, I don't know what was going on with the general crowd, but I know my thoughts were like, I came for Quasi and Rack Baby. I saw an incredible performance from 143. IB Rahim was the last name I actually recognized. I was like, I'm getting tired. I have to get back to Barrie. And it just so happened that the last train leaving was like around this time. And I was like, well, if I just take this train, I don't have to get picked up in Vaughan. And so I took the train. And that's when I left. Now, I don't think that applies to the entire crowd. And so the entire crowd leaving was a little unnerving in a sense. Not in like a general like, oh, this was fucking scary or whatever, but it was something that was not expected, and led to them kind of like pretty much like trying to get people, as I was getting my Uber to Union Station, like trying to pull people back into the venue to try and watch Azanti. It was not something I had ever expected, especially at a digital music show. But again, I think it was less about digital music itself and the people that ran it and the organization of the show, other than maybe like the only thing I think Max and them could have done better is put Quasi last. That's the only thing you can do there. But I think it's more of a representation as of the Toronto music scene as a whole right now, more than like a digital music failure is the way I will put it. Now, off topic a little bit, I wanted to get back to my little social anxiety, and I have maybe some apologies to some people. I don't know about full out apologies, but there was two awkward interactions where I left those interactions being like, fuck, I embarrassed myself. And that's maybe not accurate. That's maybe B's being like incredibly self-deprecating, but that's why I want to share them, because I think in a sense they're a little funny. So, It was right around the same time that like IB Rahim was on, and then went to I think it was right as Rock Benjamin's was going on, and is it AD Reacts or AB Reacts? Alex Diane and Brianna, they came up to me. Now, keep in mind, I think me and Alex had been following each other since the first DMTV show I went to. Never met her. And so it was like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. This is actually like the first time I'm meeting this person. Like, oh, hi, what's up? She came up to me, but I was so fucking exhausted. I'm like, oh, yeah, Alex, right? Oh, okay, nice to meet you. And then Brianna introduced herself, and I was like, oh, yeah, nice. And then I just kind of went like, ugh. And like watched the performance, and I don't know if that was like the genuine actual like end of the conversation or not. But it felt to me as if I just kind of blew them off, and I felt bad, but I didn't know what to say, so I just kind of, left it be, and then they walked away, and like, I don't know what happened there, to be honest. I genuinely don't. I don't know what happened. And I apologize if I came off as rude. That just kind of happens to me. I'm pretty awkward. I am working on it. Trust me. It is something I struggle with. But I felt bad about that one. And then I also felt bad about my interaction with Misa at the very end. Because I have met Misa before. It took... Like, the first time I actually talked to Misa in person was the block party in Brampton last year. So it would have been like August 30th, August 31st time last year. And that was the first time I had talked to her in person because I never went up to her. I still, and this is a confession, I've still never talked to Quasi in person. Not out of any sort of disrespect. I'm just bad at interacting with people. And so when Misa came up to me at this show, it was like, oh yeah. I guess what I'm saying is that my interaction with Misa felt a little awkward because I was just very tired and very awkward, and I was self-conscious about it, and I don't know if that came off as rude, and I hope not, but just like the previous interaction, like, hey, I'm sorry. That's really all I wanted out of that. But other than that, I think, like, overall, the event was a good starting point for this festival. Like, this is something that I genuinely believe can be a very, very big thing. It's a very different take, something new. Bringing something new to the city is always going to be a rough road, especially at the beginning. And I think it was a transitional type show for DMTV, and I expect the next one to be 10 times better, genuinely. But I think, I don't know if it was, I wouldn't say it was 10 times better than the last showcase, but it was definitely an improvement as well, like, and it held way more weight than the last showcase in a broader scheme of things, which is in and of itself an improvement. And I hope that DMTV, Max, Shane, Evan, all of them take this one, put it in their back pocket, and just keep rolling. Because what they're doing right now with the Minute of Music is incredible. I know they've probably doubled their following over the last 9 months just by doing the Minute of Music stuff. So they are genuinely moving in the right direction. And this is nothing to them in the grand scheme of things. I think going forward, they will improve drastically. And I don't think it was anything to do with the organization of the show. I think they just kind of got unlucky with the crowd that turned up. Is my genuine final thoughts is they did everything they could. It was just a bad crowd. And sometimes you get unlucky with a bad crowd. So that is that.